Hey, what's going on? Driving in my car like no surprise. I mean, I've been doing it in my car for a little while now. I didn't get a whole lot done with the site last night, but there was still significant progress that I don't know if it's super obvious for a lot of people. Okay, so here's the down and dirty of it all, right? So I'm trying to build some kind of successful business. But the only way for me to do that is to be able to eventually be able to, spend money for advertisement and stuff like that. I'm trying to do it really, 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 really limited on cash. And I'm going to take the philosophy that you can make up with your creativity if you lack the capital. You know what? It's kind of silly, but most people throughout history have had the best outcomes by being limited on their resources. So by actually having limited money to be able to do this, I'm going to have to be creative. There's no other options about it. And I was already thinking of a couple of cool, clever ideas. Like for example, once I get my music up and stuff, my first two albums, because they were a long time ago, I'm not going to try to release them like I would stuff that I'm making right now. I'm not going to have any... sorry for picking my nose. I was slapping at my nose here. It feels like it's itching. I don't know. But the music that I had back in the day, I'm just going to put it up there. As I mentioned before, kind of like as a point of reference of where I was, and hey, this is the stuff that I had, and I'm just putting a polish to my old material. But I'm actually going to go through the process of properly, or trying to properly release, music via singles, and here comes an album with advertisements and music videos and stuff like that. I don't think I'm ever going to make music videos for my old stuff, unless it's something I really, really, really love. But I was thinking about that. I've got an album I wanted to do completely ridiculous. Like my other stuff was more serious. Well, I had some bullshit songs, but I wanted to make an album called Boner Jams, which started off as a joke, but it literally turned into just like an album about dicks and stuff. So it's gonna be silly, but I got this one cool song on there called "Dicks in Space," and I know a lot of people like it because when they hear it, they're like, "Wow, that's fucking creative." But I think they're all fairly well made. But originally I wanted to make it where it's animated, and I was using different programs and paying people an exorbitant amount of money to make it happen. But then, fuck it, we don't have that money right now. So, and the idea is you might have money, but you don't have that money because if you've got debt, or if you're living paycheck to paycheck, as I've been there several times, or hell, if you don't even have a savings, it's just you don't have the money to be spending on a lot of stuff. You gotta put creativity in place of that. So I was thinking, when they were making the Star Wars films, they had a low budget. They didn't have the budget for extra special effects and stuff. They had literally replicas to scale size, and then they just made the rest work with cinematic effects and stuff. But I was thinking it'd be funny to make an intentionally ghetto, but really quirky, silly video for Dicks in Space where I had little cutout penises and stuff, because it's the whole story is this this spaceship is going out in space and they get attacked by this fleet of dicks. So it's pretty fucking silly, and I'm thinking I'm going to make a very silly music video for that. When I get more time to that, I'll talk about that, but the reason behind today's video is you got to consider your finances. And so you might have a lot of personal things that you want to have, and there's a lot of things that you use that are necessary, or you deem as necessary, but you got to get rid of those if you're not able to, as Dave Ramsay would put it, get the water to flow. He talks about in his books and in his philosophy that if you have woodcutters, or loggers, they're knocking a bunch of trees down and they put the log in the river to flow it downstream. Well, sometimes you don't have any flow anymore because the logs are all jammed up in one little area. And he said sometimes you need to go in there and you need to blow it up and disturb it so you can let all the wood go. But people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to sacrifice a couple of things to make it so overall the money can start flowing in. So how is that relevant? Well, in his book he suggests, if you don't have money to pay, snowball your bills and start getting to a point where you can start investing in stuff, you might have to sell some of your stuff. Now, luckily I'm not at the point where I need to do that, but there's definitely expenses and stuff that would be considered luxuries. Things that you wouldn't want to get rid of immediately. Like, for example, my Audible account. That's $30 a month. But last night, the wife and I were going through the different things that we could possibly get rid of. And we just did that because, well, hey, if you want something and you don't have enough resources for that something, you might have to take resources from other things. And I'm a big advocate reader, so I'm not trying to get rid of my ability to keep learning. But I'm not getting rid of my ability to learn. I can literally just watch YouTube videos and stuff like that. But I don't know. You gotta get rid of some of that stuff. And I'm a little distracted right here by traffic. I apologize. That's the only downfall of doing these videos while in the car. You gotta keep a keen mind where you're able to talk and you're able to, look at the camera once in a while, just so you're not always ignoring your audience. And I don't want to die. I'm at stoplights. I'm not gonna die, but people are looking at me like, "What the fuck is he doing?" So none of that matters really. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm not going to try to ramble that much. Let me see if I can just sum this up. Get rid of the bullshit you don't need. Get rid of those extra logs that are clogged up in the system because, they're stopping you from success. What the hell else did I get rid of? I don't know. I just took care of my old stuff. You ever do like a life purge? You ever go and figure out any bills that you have that you've been paying for a while and you don't know why you have, or accounts that you had that maybe you could have done something with? Like, people don't necessarily owe you money and you aren't necessarily paying something out actively, but like last night I finally closed out one of the gigs that I had. Somebody, well, it was kind of a friend, so I kind of had hope that it would eventually come to something, but he was way over expired on the gig that he had to do some marketing material for me, and it was just ridiculous amount of time later, and it was like, late, you can cancel this, but I just never did. I'm like, maybe get around to it one day, but we just didn't have communication for way too long, so I had to do that. But that's like $100 right there of extra credit. Maybe before I felt bad because it's just like, he started working on it, so I was just like, I don't like getting somebody starting on a project and then just taking away what would have been their payment. That just doesn't seem right to me. But I don't know. At this point, I felt that money would have sat there forever. He probably at the same time didn't feel like collecting it for the same reasons, because maybe he didn't feel like he did the job correctly. Well, obviously he didn't do the job correctly, but he felt that it wouldn't have been worth taking that money since he didn't do the job. So good integrity of his part. So yeah, sometimes you gotta get rid of those logs. And I guess that wasn't particularly a log, but you get what I'm saying. As for the website, not a whole lot of progress. Well, I guess a little bit, but it's not super significant. As I said before, I'm using Wix, the free version of that. I don't plan on paying for a URL for a while because if we're trying to save as much money as possible, and I don't have like business actively coming to the website where I'm going to need it to have a special URL, you know, I don't have people breaking on the doors. I'm just having it so I could start. Um, then screw it. Don't pay that extra amount of money. I remember before when I wanted to start like doing anything professionally for the first time, I was like, I need to have everything perfect, everything looks look great, and I ended up with a whole bunch of like websites and bullshit that cost me a whole bunch of money on a monthly basis, way before I'm making money, way before I'm doing anything with that stuff. So you gotta not fall in that trap. Go with the free route, man. Um, what's the worst case scenario? Somebody's gonna be like, oh, he's not that professional because he's got a wix.com/blah blah blah URL. You know, eventually I'm going to switch it to AdamRounisto.com. But right now at this stage it doesn't matter. I'm going to take advantage of the free one because I know that I don't have the money for all that. And when I started my board game company, BRB Games and Entertainment, that LLC was originally intended to be exclusively for making like board games and stuff like that. But, you know, that's not really the name of like that reflects what I'm doing right now. But the cool thing is that's the company that gets the money per se. Like I can link all my accounts to there, so I don't have to get another LLC. Like there's no point in me getting a new name just because it doesn't correlate with what I'm doing right now. You see what I mean? You work with what you have. That Dixon Space video, like I was just saying, I'm going to take things I can find from the house and try to make it quirky. I'm going to spend my time in place of my money and try to make it work out, because that's what you got to do. So I don't know. I guess if you're ever trying to do anything that's worth doing, then really consider what you're spending versus what you're making. And that's not something that I ever wanted to do. You know, for the longest time I didn't look at my account. It was just kind of like, okay, well, I should be good. I didn't really know. And then when you spend something, you don't have that access to your account immediately, then it's just like you can't make an educated decision. So first thing I had to do was I had to make it so I could get the app on my phone working, which was a pain in the ass. Like I had to call Citizens Bank like twice because I could not get the password to work because I had so many different accounts, and every time I tried it would just say that's not the correct password. Well, it turns out I was locked in, or I was locked out. But even after that, you know, when I called up, it wasn't super easy. Like I couldn't just take the steps they were saying. I had to call them up multiple times and make it so it was like very difficult to just pick up your phone and do, which are the things that are most distracting. In my case, I usually get stuck not doing things because they're just a pain in the ass. And they're little things. They're like, oh, I can get away with that, right? But no, you need to be able to see your finances. You need to track them every single day. You need to make sure you know exactly how much you've been spending at certain things, and look at all your reoccurring bills. You know, like for my phone bill, right? I could have been paying just $50, but I was paying $57. I didn't even think like, oh, well, why is my wife's bill $50? Because we both have Metro PCS, and mine's an extra $7. Well, we went through my plan, and I had $7 worth of bullshit that I got rid of. $7 more per month, right there. I mean, it's little things, but literally when you add them up, right? So the audible account would be what, $34, and then you got $7, and then I know I got rid of something else. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, we wanted to do stuff with like Amazon selling because that was going to be part of the business model. But we had to kind of lay back from that because that was not an option, especially after a newborn son. Well, I don't have time. I gotta get away from this video. So hopefully I was less rambly today, and you understand the point. But if you're doing anything worth doing, then break up those logs if you don't have a flow of water. So see you guys tomorrow.